5 Spurs finish in double figures here tonight, led by Devin Vassell's 25 points, and the Spurs run away from the Toronto Raptors. 123-89 here tonight at Scotiabank Arena as we continue Spurs Live. Dan Weiss back here courtside. I mean, the Spurs basically led this one wire to wire, built a double-digit lead early in this game, led by over 30 at points in time, and just never relinquished. It really all started on the defensive end of the floor, those 8 steals in the first quarter, and they never let up. But again, it was Devin Vassell who, again, going back to his performance in the beginning of March where he had 37 points against Brooklyn, it's just really opened up for him ever since. And we showed you the numbers on Spurs Live at the top of the broadcast. Devin's been averaging almost 20 a game in the month of March, shooting 40% from beyond the arc. He goes 11 of 14 from the field tonight, 3 of 6 from downtown, while adding 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and yes, another block, as we mentioned. That gives him 33 blocks for the season, 16 blocks post the All-Star break, which ties him with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for most among backcourt players in the NBA. So it's great to see Devin, what he's doing on the offensive end of the floor, but even more impressive to see how he's impacting the game on the defensive end of the floor. You get winning plays like that on both ends. That's why you get a big win like the Spurs had here tonight to start this road trip in Toronto. For more, let's send it back to the 2 gentlemen who called tonight's game, Jacob Toby, TJ Ford.
Dan, thank you very much. Devin Vassell had 3 assists in this game. The Spurs had 27 assists on 41 made shots. Sharing the basketball was magnificent tonight. That was the part you loved about this game.
I love it. You know, as being a point guard to assist the basketball, it was very important when you look at these guys being able to share the basketball, and it started with their defense. As you get on the break and Castle to the Devin, and Devin give it right back to him for a dunk. And then when you see guys getting inside the paint and Jeremy with a wide open shot and putting the ball in his shooting pocket, look at that give and go. Lay up at the basket. And look, I think these guys are understanding each other's roles now and what they enjoy doing. So when you look at being able to get in the paint and sharing the basketball, it's fun to watch. And the Spurs have been doing an amazing job when they're using 27 assists and 41 field goals is always impressive.
It was their 210th straight game of 20 or more assists, the longest streak in the NBA. How impressive is that, and how important is that to this organization, the idea of sharing the basketball?
Well, that's just the key of basketball. When you want to play the basketball and you play in the right way, multiple guys are going to touch the basketball, and that's the thing. Guys are playing for each other. Guys are passing up shots and putting the ball on the floor, getting the paint to make an extra pass. So the unselfishness is what you was able to see tonight. And like I said, this team is continuously getting better. It's not about their record. I think they have something that they want to prove, and I think the culture that they're establishing that 1 through 15 guys are ready tonight, and they came out to really play and to get on a 3-game winning streak.
I was going to say, to start the 3-game road trip off with a win is great, knowing that you have a couple tough games coming up next against the Pistons and the Cavs.
Well, I mean, look, they come to play. I'm not really worried about, the team's record. Detroit is a good team that's on the horizon, and they're getting a lot of, publicity of what Cade Cunningham has been able to do. But I look at the team on the 3-game winning streak. Detroit Pistons is not coming in thinking that we're just going to run through this team. So when you look at what the Spurs have been able to do, Detroit Pistons is going to be focused and locked in. And I have a feeling that it's going to be a good game on Tuesday.
All right, it's the only time I'll be able to steal the ball away from TJ Ford. I could not do that when you were
right about that
in your playing days. Should I throw this over to Dan, see if he can catch it?
You might hit him in the head.
You were going to hit me in the back of the head if you do. Yeah, exactly. I'd have to turn away from the camera. There we go. Nice. Thanks. Good stuff. Appreciate it. Good stuff, guys. We'll see you on Tuesday night. Spurs and the Detroit Pistons as this road trip will continue along here for the Spurs across the Eastern Time Zone one final time this year. Julian Champagnie, 2 of his 20 tonight on thunderous dunk to close out the third quarter. More Spurs Live, and we continue after this. 123-89 the final. Spurs make it 3 in a row. Start this 3-game road trip off on the right foot as they get the W here in Toronto. 25 for Devin Vassell, 20 for Julian Champagnie off the bench as we welcome you back here, Spurs Live. Dan Weiss, courtside Scotiabank Arena. I mean, you can go top to bottom as you take a look at the final numbers here tonight. And I mean, it's all positive for the Spurs. And again, it just goes to show you two things. Shooting, obviously, makes a huge difference, and the Spurs are on top of that. But again, my interview with Devin, talking about defense and how that makes the game so much easier on the other end as well, too. 22 turnovers the Spurs forced tonight, turn it into 30 points again. They're plus 17 in the points off turnovers. That's another tremendous performance off the bench, 63 points. Look at that. They got to the foul line 32 times tonight, going 27 to 32. So shooting the long ball well, getting downhill, getting to the foul line. When you do all those things and you play good defense, you're going to have routes like you had here tonight. And the Spurs, again, pretty much magnificent from start to finish, top to bottom throughout the lineup as they come away with the win. And now we'll head off to Detroit. We'll talk about that. We'll hear from Mitch Johnson on the other side. Sandro Mamukelashvili, 2 of his 12 here as we wrap up Spurs Live from Toronto after this. Welcome back, Dan Weiss. As we continue Spurs Live. Spurs get the win tonight, 123-89 over the Toronto Raptors as the Spurs make it 3 in a row. Let's hear from Mitch Johnson after the W.
So it's tough. The NBA game's long, and to be able to string together consistency among 48 minutes is the standard that we're just in ever pursuit of, and I think they've done a really good job recently of executing that.
You mentioned before the game that, no matter what point of the season in, who's out, they're going to be held to a certain standard. And they're certainly doing that even without Wemby and Fox.
Yeah, I mean, it's this league doesn't care who's in the lineup or who's available or what the record is. And I think we have some guys that are impacting winning or learning what it takes to impact winning. And, again, that will be valuable from now until forever. So as long as we can bottle that up, grow in that regard, and be more consistent with it, good things will come with that.
Coach, Bismack beyond ball he had almost a double today. But in terms of the locker room of the voice of a veteran, what is the value that a guy like that brings, especially like in a season with so much adversity?
There's no way to get experience without experience, right? So we have a lot of guys on our team that are looking to take the next step in their individual careers and as a team, and they have not been to the playoffs. They're part of late season winning, competing for seeding or whatnot. Or they're learning how to play the right way when there hasn't been as much success. And someone like Bismack is an adult and just knows what it takes and how to approach every single day. And so he, along with Harrison and Chris, have been invaluable in that regard.
Yeah. Another good night from Devin.
Yeah, it's funny. We went through that stretch where there were a lot of alarms and concerns that maybe he had lost his powers, and now he's making shot after shot, but he's also impacting winning and doing a lot of the things that don't show up on the box score and shifting on defense, tipping rebounds out, deflections. His rotations have been sharp. His closeouts have been more consistent. It's really fun to see these guys improve and to be able to get rewarded with it at times. And he's the guy right now who's getting a little bit of all of it, and he deserves it.
Back to that first quarter, I think Blake had 2 of those steals, so he just continues to make that defensive impact.
Yeah, the guys off the bench have really bought into it. Like Keldon couldn't make a shot tonight, and he was terrific. And I think when you have individuals in a collective group buy into that type of basketball, everybody feels like they're participating. Everybody wants to make the shot. But when you have that type of team success and that type of connectivity, even when you don't make the shots, you feel like you're participating and adding to the group, and it's a really fun thing to be a part of.
Yeah, it's been a real collective effort here for the Spurs over the last few games. It all wins. Yeah, we go back to the Mamu performance against the Knicks, maybe a little bit of an outlier. But when you think about what everybody's doing, contributing, and as Mitch Johnson talked about making the winning plays like Devin's doing on both ends of the floor. That's why the Spurs are seeing some success here at the end of March. So the road trip continues on to Detroit, where the Spurs will meet the Pistons coming up on Tuesday night at Little Caesars Arena. Pistons got the win tonight, 136-130 over New Orleans. Cade Cunningham was a late scratch in this game with a calf injury, so we'll monitor his status. Cunningham had 25 and 12 the last time he faced the Spurs, which was ironically the first time he'd ever faced the Spurs in that game at the Moody Center in Austin. But the Pistons won 125-110. So again, we'll check his status. Jalen Duren, though, is a tough customer. He had a double-double tonight, and they got 26 from Ron Holland, the second off the bench, and 20 from Marcus Sasser. They got a lot of weapons in Detroit. It's a Pistons team that's playing well. Be a good challenge here for the Spurs headed to Michigan coming up on Tuesday night. Get you started with Spurs Live beginning at 5:30. Jacob Toby, TJ Ford will tip things off at 6 o'clock tonight. All Spurs from start to finish. Spurs led by as many as 38 in this game. They win it 123-89, 25 for Devin Vassell, 20 for Julian Champagny, 5 Spurs in double figures as the Spurs make it 3 in a row. Now, from Jacob Toby, TJ Ford, our entire crew, I'm Dan Weiss saying so long. We'll talk to you Tuesday night from Detroit. Have a great night, everybody.